Okay, I am going to go over here to YouTube because they just closed my last stream, just went up and down. So let's go to YouTube. Is anybody out there? Can you hear me? I don't think so. All right, I'm sorry if anyone shows up and you see me looking down. I'm looking for my. Well, crud. All right, I am streaming, but this does not appear to know it. Looking to see. Nope. Okay. All right. I am here, but it says I am offline. Okay. Can you see me? All right. I have found the stream. Now, if I can figure out how to share it. Okay, guys. This is so frustrating. Okay, I'm going to go put this in the community tab, and I'm going to put the waiting card back up. Okay, I may be here all by myself. We will see. I'm going to go to scene real quick. Okay, we will this point since it crashed on me. So frustrating. So frustrating. Okay, you're going to watch me do a quick short here. If anyone shows up. Hi everybody, I'm live streaming right now. The first one that I sent everyone the link to crashed, so there is a new stream up. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to link it right here. If not, just head over to my channel and it will be there. So let's hang out and talk about. Okay. Boopity, boopity, boop. Hey, I see somebody. Hallelujah. It's Susan. Hi, Susie. I started my live stream and it immediately, and that's the one that populated for everyone. And so now I don't know. We'll see if this even is a go. I have all the tea on the big patterns too, so I really want to share that with everyone. Crazy. You get to see me from behind the scenes. I had a cute screen up and everything. We'll see. I'm going to give it a few minutes and see what happens. We'll see if it reconnects or not. I appreciate you showing up and supporting me, though. Thank you very much. Craziness. Yeah, I noticed when it popped up and the stream started, I had quite a few people in there, and then it just was gone. That's the thing with technology. That's one of the things that makes me nervous about doing this is the unpredictability. So we'll see. It may be just you and me, and it'll be a great replay. And if so, that's great. I'm going to give all the details either way. I'm going to try I put my a little intro in here. Let's see if it, I'm going to play the intro. On my end, I can't hear it, but I can see the little audio thing moving, so I think it works. Man, I scripted this one. Oh my goodness, this is so funny. I should just give you a call instead, tell you all the secrets from behind what's going on. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to let, I don't know either. I don't know if it's me or what. We had huge storm last night and crazy hail. We had like 5 inches of rain in a short time. It's been wild here, so it could just be us. I don't know. We'll find out. It also could just be live streaming. Sometimes it's glitchy. All right, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and give the details and we'll see if anyone else can find me or not. We'll see. They can always roll back if they can't. The beginning of this is going to be a long what happened thing with me behind the scenes looking down. I may go in and see if I can edit some of that out. I don't know. I haven't tried editing a live stream. It may not be possible. So happy Soy Sunday. I know you can hear me because I've got one chatter up and I appreciate it. I know that I can be heard. So this may be a really great one for replay. I don't know the best time to do a live, and that's something I may have to do like a community poll and find out what's best for everyone. When I looked at the analytics, YouTube said this was the time. So they said most of the people who watch my videos are up and online right now, which if I think most people are sort of my age doing the same thing, so I understand that. But if you have a preference, later on put it down. Hello, C. Hamilton. Yay, somebody else found us. I won't repeat this over and over, but the first stream opened and immediately crashed. So it may be, well, there may be four of us hanging out today. And if you see me looking off to the side, I have multiple screens. The camera's over there. So I'm kind of looking off a little bit. I have got the tea on the big four patterns and what's been going on with them, and I am kind of excited to share it with you. I'm going to have to go back because my first stream crashed. All of these, the links and everything for what I'm talking about are in the other stream that didn't work. So I will go back later and add in all of the links. Hello, Nomi. Is it Nomi? Good morning, good morning. Where's everybody from? I know where Susan's from because I personally know Susan, special human in my life. So tell me where you guys are from. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which I always like to say is the middle of the United States, but it's not actually. It's actually a little place north of here in Kansas, but we're pretty close to them, sitting in the center of the country. So hello to everyone. I'm glad you're here. I have got really interesting news on the big four patterns and stuff that happened recently. So if you probably know the big four patterns have been slowly bought up. So originally they were all their own companies, and they were slowly bought up by one company that's a holding house in the UK, DGI, I believe was their name. And recently they decided to, it sounded just like Know Me. Okay, I'm sitting here with a Know Me pattern right here. Easy. Hello to Hugh. I bet it's warm and lovely down there. Um, so anyway, the big four were bought up slowly since I think starting around 2017. You'll notice that if you were shopping online, you'll notice that they went from their own. Vogue suddenly was owned by Simplicity, or it looked like it was. They were all under the Simplicity group, and they actually were all owned by a United Kingdom company. And this year, the United Kingdom company decided to get rid of them. I have a whole video called it's like of the industry, something like that, that I did about 5 or 6 weeks ago about them getting rid of all of their American or United States holdings that they didn't want anymore. They didn't want to mess with this, and the tariffs have made that even worse. So, oh, North San Diego. I have a loved one who just moved to California. I'm going to go fabric shopping there in a month, I hope. I'm very excited about it, to go touch some real fabrics again. So, September, I have it down here. I believe September 12th, there was an auction, and they had broken apart all of the things they owned. They own ribbons, they own bias tape, they own craft kits, they own the boy company that has knitting needles and crochet needles, they own all of the major pattern companies and that are shipped to the United States. The companies are still out there, but the United States portion of it was just going to go away completely. And that includes not just the names and the copyrights, they also owned ushering. There's like a company in Neenah, Wisconsin that was actually printing the patterns, folding and putting them in the envelopes, all of that. All of that was up for auction. And the fear was just this is the same thing where it was sold to a company just like Hancock's was sold to and Joann's was sold to, and they literally buy it just to get rid of it. And so we were all in fear that this was what was going to happen with our big four patterns. However, they were bought by Simplicity LLC. So here's the information that I found, and it's a little confusing. Instead of being sold to another just liquidator that just gets rid of them, they actually were bought by Simplicity Group LLC, which is actually part of the Sykes licensing group. They created a new company under them called Simplicity Creative Group. So Simplicity Creative Group bought the patterns. They bought all of the licensing, the manufacturing. They also have a thing about all of the people who worked there that were going to get to keep their jobs. So if you look at the court documents from the auction, all of the names of the people are redacted, which is super interesting, but also very hopeful. So the way I found this out, I have been looking for information because I knew this was coming and I could find nothing on it. So I'm going to give major props to two YouTubers, Sewing Report Live. I will go back and put them in the description later so you can find them. And the other one is So Lounge, SEW Lounge. They both had really good information on it. They went and watched the auction, which I didn't know you could do. They found the court documents. Sewing Report Live is a former reporter. She does a really great job and she really gives really good up-to-date industry information. So she is worth a follow. And I've never been to So Lounge, but they have a nice sized sewing channel with all kinds of information. And again, really good, solid information about what's happening with the patterns. So saying all of that, what that means is the pattern companies are not going away. Now, the scary thing is that everyone's been liquidating them. I went to my Hobby Lobby this week and they're not going to have patterns there. I don't know if they're going to come back of this uh, of the auction or part of the documentation. It said that they actually were part their licensing information that to Hobby Lobby was part of this. So they still have a contract more or less with this new Simplicity Creative Group. So we'll see. I'm curious to see if they're going to come back, if they're going to just redo um, because it's going to be held by somebody new, if they're just going to be redoing the setup and how it's done. I'm very curious about that. In the meantime, they still have a few McCall's patterns over there for 99 cents if you want to grab them. Not today, of course, they're closed today, but in other Hobby Lobby news, this is the week that their 30% off all fabrics are there. If you're like I am, it is all you have available for fabric shopping other than Walmart. And I don't shop Walmart fabrics. I've gone in and looked, and the quality is very hit or miss, mostly miss. So I skip it completely. So have you guys heard, I'm looking over the chat. Have you heard anything about this? Have you heard that the pattern companies were actually bought by Simplicity? More or less, Simplicity is going to continue to own under Sykes. The little bit of a scary thing is that Simplicity didn't have their own money and they got funding from outside or from their backing groups. So that's what this Sykes licensing is. And it's actually, I think I know it was in both of the other YouTube videos who makes up the Sykes, and it's like a private equity holder and like a family that does private equity. So not sure what's going to happen there. We will see. So that's the big news on the patterns. They did not end up just getting completely liquidated, and I didn't expect them to, honestly. I could not imagine. Of all of them, Vogue was the one I was like, I cannot believe Vogue would just completely disappear. And I sort of expect them to maybe be available, but only um, in the European form, and that we would just have to do like we're doing currently, which is order everything and just pay the tariffs or whatever to get what we want from out of the country. So this helps us keep it in the country and will probably help keep it a little more cohesive. It won't be the upheaval hopefully won't be as great. So I'm looking at my chat. My chat's kind of frozen. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so that's the big news on the pattern companies. I have a quick little list here. Oh, I'm going to give you a little more background. It was sold for 2.25 million, which does not seem like that much for McCall, Simplicity, Butterick, and Vogue. So pretty reasonable, I thought. It is overall good news. This is the history of how Group of Americas filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, got rid of all their Americas stuff. Then the Hilco Capital liquidation firm took it over. And then as of September 12th, Sykes Licensing under the name Simplicity Creative Group bought that all up, everything. So that's sort of the history in just the last few months of how it's gone, but it's excellent news for us. I'm just checking my notes. GPT actually, it took a little bit to put it in there, but once I got it in, they broke down the documents for me, which I was surprised. It was pretty easy. So the other thing that's happening, because we're already two-thirds of the way through September, is So Small September is happening. And I think this was put together by a few little quilt shops, but what it really is encouraging people to go shop their local, while they still have them, their local creative um, retailers. I think most of us already are doing this. We are seeing how hard it is to go in and touch a fabric. And I go shop quilt shops all the time just for my cottons to make tops and household things and things like that out of, because any 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 local retailer at this point I want to keep, even if they're just straight quilt shops. I will tell you, because I'm in Tulsa, and I've lived in quite a few places. But when I started teaching in 1993 in Tulsa, we had the Fabric Stash, which was a like an upscale apparel fabric store that I worked for. We had J. Boyer, which was very elegant, beautiful fabrics. Most of the fabrics came from jobbers from New York, kind of like Mood Fabrics do. We had in the Farm Shopping Center, we had a big, beautiful Hancock's. There was a Cloth World in the mall and Joann's at the time. But those we had all of those shops plus some other little shops. We had a Bernina store that carried some fabrics. We had the quite a few sewing machine shops that also carried fabrics. So when I started sewing, oh, you know what else we had? Right next to our fabric store, the Fabric Stash, we had an heirloom sewing shop where you could go in and buy your delicate batistes and your insertion laces, and they had all the stuff for smocking. And then there was also a quilt shop. All of those were kind of like close to each other, right in the middle of Tulsa in the 90s. And I tell you, it kind of feels like a desert now. It's the climate has changed so much, which is interesting to me. We'll see where it goes, because I hear people saying, well, no one sews anymore, but I'm telling you, that is not my experience. I have kids in Chicago, my children in Chicago. I have children that were in Kansas City or now in California, and I know they're creative people, but they also, everyone around them is knitting and sewing and cooking and crafting, and they get together and hang out and do crafts. And I am so jealous. I want to get together with my friends and craft. I think that is so fun. So I feel like it's not dying. I just think it's changing. So I'm still hopeful. I'd like to know is what your experience is where you are. Do you see um, the next generation or up and coming kids crafting and creating? When I was sewing, I was the only one sewing. None of my friends, and none of my friends were interested, or and I would say that's still the case. Most of the people in my life are not that interested. I have a sister who does, but I would say overall, all of my friendships, none of them sew or have any desire to. And but all the people I've taught were younger than me for the most part, and they were all gung ho about it. So I'm curious if that's been your experience too. I had really good dialogue with somebody in one of my videos about it, and they really felt like sewing was dead. So I don't see it that way. I see so many artists out there who use their textiles in interesting and creative ways. So so anyway, there's that. The so small September. I have questions for you guys, and if you're in chat, you can put it in chat. If not, you can put it in the comments below. Um, if you're on the replay crew, and I apologize if you're on replay crew because the front end of this is a hot mess. It gets better. Um, I have been looking into doing YouTube memberships because I'd like to do there's some really fun content I would love to sort of stream with you guys, and we can stop it and discuss it and have a creative discussion together on them. But the only way to do that is behind a paywall. So I'm not going to make it expensive at all, because for me, it's about the discussion, not the income. But in looking at it, I can do YouTube memberships, which is a little, you do tiers or whatever. And I just don't really care much about it other than to have the creative private group to do it in. It's the only way that I can do it on YouTube without getting copyright strikes and all kinds of information. I know, see, Hamilton, I really miss the fabric stores too. I agree with you. I really feel like sewing is coming around. Kids are doing, I say kids, everyone. Cosplay is so big right now where they're doing costuming and people express themselves through their clothing and through their appearance um, and fit. Like one of the big things that I see people coming to sewing for is that they just can't get clothes that fit properly, and it's frustrating. Both of my daughters, all my kids sew because they were stuck with me as a mom, and that's just one of the life skills that they got. But I found that both of my daughters in adulthood wanted to sew, number one, because their clothes didn't fit, and they're regular sized or so, but it doesn't mean the clothes are meant for them either. And everything needs a dart. The hems are too short or too long. So I sewing is definitely coming around, and it's a lot cheaper to buy a sewing machine and do it yourself than to pay a tailor. Though, if you don't want to buy a sewing machine, go pay a tailor and have your clothes fit. It's so nice to have fitted clothes. Um, Anyway, back to the Patreon or YouTube membership. Do you guys have a preference, or would one be more appealing to you? On Patreon, you actually go to a different, but we can do the whole thing on the Patreon site, or otherwise it would be through YouTube just as a members only video, and I can stream the thing that we want to watch together, and we can pause and talk about it. So I'm very curious if you have a preference over one. I'm going to make it as cheap as I can because I'm really not in it for the money. I'm in it for the creative humans to hang out with and have a discussion with. You know, the pandemic brought so many people back to creative pursuits. Knitting became big, crochet became big, just all kinds of creative pursuits. That's when I started doing YouTube videos. We moved away from my community that I had been in for 17 years, and I taught sewing there. And when I left, I had 44-ish private sewing students was the last year that I taught, and they were all high schoolers. And I came to Kansas. Left Oklahoma City and came to the Kansas City area. Didn't know anyone. Was trying to get my footing. Didn't have a community to start teaching in, and the pandemic hit like within a year. And so I spent my pretty much my entire almost 4 years in Kansas City just alone because we went from not knowing anyone to being in lockdown, and then we moved back to Oklahoma, this time to the Tulsa side instead of the Oklahoma City side. And I've been trying to get um, my community back in a different way because it's different when you leave a community you've been in for a long time and come back. I lived here 30 plus years ago, new thing, but I'm finding all my creative friends are you guys online. YouTube is my preference. Okay, that's good to know. I kind of think most people are going to prefer YouTube because it just is simpler. You'll already get the alerts, you're already part of the channel. And so I kind of am assuming that's the way it is. Susan says, I get to sew clothing. Yes. So I will just let you guys know, Susan Engler was one of my very first sewing teachers way back in the day. Susan's special to me because one of the reasons I have such a passion and love for this is because they were such a gentle and loving teacher when I was a crazy kid trying to figure this out. And that's how I learned that because I'm a curvy girl. I've always been even when I was a skinny kid, I was still a curvy skinny kid. I could have clothes that fit and fit really well, and they looked better, and it just made me love sewing from the very beginning. And I could have exactly what I wanted. Like I could see in my head what I wanted, and there was nothing out there like it, or I couldn't afford it. And that's what sewing gave to me. So I agree. I I would much rather sew a garment from scratch than alter a purchased garment also, though sometimes I definitely put darts in everything. If I buy myself some jeans, and I will say if I'm in between, like right now, I haven't been sewing as much because my weight has been fluctuating and I'm trying to settle back down because I hate to sew for myself and then I can't wear that because my weight's changed so much. So I'm in the but so I'll buy something because fast fashion is cheap fashion. And so it gives me something to wear in the meantime, but I can't wear it until I alter it. So I'm sometimes like, it's still less expensive than sewing it though. Sewing is not cheaper. Sewing is better quality, lasts longer, makes me happier. That's what sewing is. Um, so, yep, YouTube is my preference. Okay, I'm looking to see if I'm having more screen issues. It's freezing there for a little bit. Um, I'm going to look at my little thing. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and just do the YouTube membership and get that set up. I already know the first three members only things I want to do. I'm very excited about them. I have one that I have talked to all my kids have heard me talk about it because I need somebody creative to talk to about the thing. But it'll be more fun to talk with you guys about. Yes, I much prefer to sew from scratch than altering. I agree. And will you hem my pants? Will you? I'm like, no. I'd rather make your pants. I will hem your pants. Not everyone's, but my husband's. But I'm telling you, people think if you sew, it's fun for you to deconstruct and reconstruct, and it's not always fun. Um, one other thing, if you have been, yeah, isn't that true? I'm different front to back, top to bottom. Know me, and so when you buy a multi-size, you can make it work for you because you can fix those things to match up on the side seams. My front top and my back bottom match, but my back top and my front bottom match. So it's like I'm like four sizes. And they you have to do like a full bust alteration, but then make it put tiny little darts in the front because you don't need as many darts in the waist in the front of the pant in the back that huge deep darts. It's crazy, and you need to move the fullness from the front to the back, and that's what sewing does for you, or the opposite, because no one is no we're not a universally sized creature. We all are so different. So I agree with you. um, I'm going to start working on that so we can get together and do the creative thing together and talk. I'm very excited about doing that. I'm going to show you my desktop real quick. So, oh, I did not know it would put my picture up there. That's very interesting. There I am. I didn't think I would be there. This is my website. And recently I found out I had an Amazon shop. And recently I found out the whole Amazon shop that I set up, the website and Amazon quit speaking to each other and it was gone. So if you've ever been here before, it's called sewstoreap.com. I have all my video playlists here. I have an Amazon shop where I put like this is one of my dress forms. This is a mini dress form, my pattern paper. So if you're trying, this is my favorite pattern making. This was my textbook when I was in college. This is the updated version. So I've been populating it, but I'm not done because I'm having to go in and individually put each item and the link. So before it was all one thing. You could click anywhere and it would work. Now you have to click the little thing below. It doesn't have the price on there. I started to put the prices in, but it's Amazon and they change. So I have not done that, but if you click through, it takes you to it. I have my resources. So this is where, if you've been to any of my videos, this has got the notebook information. If you want to make your own like textbook notebook, to how to do the invisible zipper. This is like to print the invisible zipper stuff. The pot holder set pattern, my stocking pattern. So if I have free patterns for you, they're here. You click and you can get it. And then these are little bodice drawings that you can draw your own bodice if you're working on the pattern making with me and you want to do some practice. Draw your bodice and then make the pattern. That's what these are. And then I have the shirt shop, which is my Teespring that has all my sewing t-shirts. I'm going to be doing some new ones soon, but this is what the website is. And I just want to let everyone know. Fortunately, someone let me know. They went to my Amazon shop and they're like, it's blank. Everything's disappeared. And I was so glad they told me because I don't visit it that often myself. So let me get out of there. There we go. So let me see if I've said everything that I wanted to say to you guys. Let me go back and just double check my my chat. I appreciate all of you that did show up for this crazy stream. I feel sad that I started my stream and it immediately crashed and I had to run around and fix it. I'm going to get better at this as I do it more and practice more. I'm taking notes on the issues that I had so that hopefully it doesn't happen again. I will say that I have an adult son who's amazing with all technology. I'm not bad with technology, but I'm not as intuitive as he is. And he showed up and thank you, C. Hamilton. And he showed up and really showed me how to make this thing work better and more smoothly. So if anything worked well, it's probably because he was behind the scenes being an amazing help to me. So I'm also on Instagram. I also have a little Facebook page um, that you can, the Facebook page, if you want to give me messages, or Instagram, that's usually the two best ways if you want to send me a message. I'm working on getting a PO box. I never have messed with it, but I've had enough requests that I think a PO box, because it's safer for me to email and or to mail out to people, or to have people mail things to me. So I'm working on that. And I guess that's the end of the stuff that I'm looking at my list. Make sure I didn't forget anything. Oh, I have one more thing. What I'm working on. I'd love to know what you guys are working on. What are your current projects? I had a short little live where I showed all the patterns that I got at Hobby Lobby. But before all of that, I have made this pattern so many times. And when Joann's went out of business and I went to Kansas City with my husband, because he travels a lot, and Kansas City is one of the places he goes. And I picked up this. It looks like a feather whale corduroy, but it's knit. And this is my current, getting ready to make this today. I make this one right here over and over. I think that's the one. Let me look. This one or this one. Anyway, I've made it multiple times. I have videos on it. I love this thing. I wear it all winter. You just throw it on and you feel all cozy and amazing. So this is currently my make for today. And this was one of the ones that I just picked up at Hobby Lobby. And I'm hoping I can find enough of my fabric knit scraps that I can put them together and have and make a top. If not, I'm going to have to go shopping. I have this that I bought, which would work. It's like nubby. I've made this in lavender before in a totally different top. I love it so much. This fabric just sews up and wears really well. Another hobby or a Joann's buy. I might do it in that. I want to do the longer sleeve right there for for fall, but it's such a cute little pattern. So anyway, this is on my 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 sewing table, and then I have this that I bought at Joann's that I'm gonna make in a t-shirt. I'm just making a glammy t-shirt out of it. I just haven't decided which one. I think it's gonna end up being maybe this one. This is the laundry day tee. I love this pattern. It just wears and fits like a dream. So this may end up being made in the laundry day tee, but this is also one that's on my, I think for the holidays, just throw on a really glammy little t-shirt and you'll feel better, and you'll feel like you dressed up. So I'm gonna make a t-shirt out of this soon. It's sheer though, something under it. But those are my projects for this week. I also have my goal is to start sewing up my stash. For those of us who have a stash, we have such a valuable resource. And I always try to sew my stash, but I'm always buying more fabric. Well, I'm doing less of that right now because of the state of things. But I bought this one and it's precious. And I was just going to make a regular tee out of it, but I'm starting to think it might become pajamas. It just feels amazing. I haven't decided yet. I have a couple different patterns, but I have a whole stack here. That's what I'm working on this right now. Um, I'm hoping you sew. I'm hoping to sew a bunch of Grain Line Studio. Okay, I need to look up Grain Line Studios. Um, I love to hear about new pattern companies. I have a couple videos out there on independent pattern companies and doing like PDF patterns. I'm going to be doing one pretty soon on how you can, if you don't want to print them off, or if you don't have to make your patterns, how you can order uh, it printed for you from PDF. So I'm going to look up, I'm writing that down real quick so I don't forget. Grain Line Studio. Never can have enough independent pattern companies. It's a woven tee. So interesting. I love that. I often do the opposite. I'll take a pattern that I do that a lot um, because it's just comfy and cozy. This is one that I just bought that's Just like a button down, but it's a raglan sleeved button. I love a raglan. I don't know I'm kind of obsessed with raglans, but I really like this. And I thought, oh, if I could find like a stretch chambray or something, that would be so comfy and cozy and cute. But it's adorable. That is such a cute pattern. So I'm very excited. I'm making a 1940s coat out of upholstery fabric using, woo! I love the vintage coats. I love the vintage coats. I did that one that was that I bought the beautiful wool for. I wish we could find, that's one of the things that I'm finding hardest is getting your nice heavy wools, like real wool. Right now. There, we have an Oklahoma City shop that in the past has carried some amazing fabrics. And my next trip through Oklahoma City, I always visit them. It's called the OKC Fabric Market. There's also Thompson's Trims if you need fancies and you're going up and down I-35. Stop in Oklahoma City. We have two really good shops there that you can get dance costume fabrics, bridal fabrics, like for apparel, beautiful apparel. I would recommend Thompson's Trims, OKC Fabric Market. I think they both may have some online availability or will ship if you call them. They both have Facebook pages too, I know. So I would love to see what your pattern is. Um, I did the one, my vintage swing coat style out of that wool. I cannot wear it again. Um, I understand about the typos. I sometimes voice to text, and I think I must slur my words because the things the voice to text goes from how I speak to how it puts it in there. Embarrassing. And my kids are always like, Mom. And I'm like, it's worse when I type it. But I understand about that. I would love to see what your pattern is that you're working on. I love the vintage patterns. I have a right here over my shoulder, and that little it's backwards to me. In that little blue basket, a bunch of vintage and antique patterns that I've been hoarding and protecting, and I'm getting ready to start tracing them off so that they're protected, but I can still use them. I almost don't ever cut my patterns, but especially my vintage patterns, I trace them. So that is so cool. Okay, guys, is there anything that I missed that you want that I didn't say? Let me know now, or questions. Otherwise, I'm gonna shut this down. Will I be taking an empty? I am taking an almost empty suitcase to California. Yes, I am. I'm taking a backpack that will be pretty much empty, and worst case because I'm visiting. I have a kid in California. Worst case, I will just ship it back from their place to my place if I buy too much. But we have definitely got, I appreciate that they're so kind about this because I won't have a car and they are going to take me into San Francisco, I think. And there's a couple fabric stores there. So I'm very excited. Visit M&L Fabrics in Anaheim when you go. Lots of goodies. Good to know. I think I'm going to be sort of in the Bay Area. So I know San Francisco, when I looked it up, I saw San Francisco had some and Berkeley were two kind of close-ish towns that had fabric stores. So I'm going to drag my kid. They are going to be my chauffeur and we're going to go check him out. I'm very, very excited. That, and of course, there's so many other neat things to see while we're there. We're doing a very fast trip this time, but I'll go back for longer. Um, Probably after the holidays. We just got back from Chicago, and while Chicago has fabric stores, and I didn't make it to a single one, that trip was so, I was just hopping. I'll tell you how many miles I walked while I was there, but I didn't make it to a fabric store, sadly. But it's still on my list. I do go to Chicago a couple times a year because I have a kid there too. So I will eventually make it to some of the fabric stores. They also have some of the good uh, thrift craft stores where you can go in and buy somebody else's project or somebody's fabric they didn't want, that sort of thing. And I think that's such a great idea. Okay, Britex is one of the ones that I had on my list. I saw Stone Mountain, but I think they were mostly quilt is what it looked like. But the Britex looked like it had all the apparel stuff. I want to go touch some silk. I want to go pet the nice fabrics. I want to go pet some silk is what I'm hoping. And I would like to get some wool too. I do not need another coat. I love sewing coats and I have like 6, but they're so fun to make. And I say that I actually am going to be, we are going to be doing a big coat project this fall here on YouTube. I have a huge coat project that we're getting ready to work on. I'm so excited about it, but it's going to be a couple videos worth because it's kind of a big project. I can't wait though. I love sewing stuff like that. I like the complicated projects. I don't do them all the time. A lot of people who sew with us, I have all varieties of people who show up here, and I love the creative community. But there's a lot of people who are just starting to sew or don't have a big sewing background. So I do some basic or um, try to cover like things that they may not have heard before, especially if you're self-taught, things you just won't come across. So I do a lot of those kinds of videos because I think they help people who are kind of getting stuck. But I think it's really fun to do the hard, complicated projects. They just take longer and usually multiple videos to sew. I'm glad to hear when I was Googling all the stores in California, it was good to know. L Fabrics, that one did not come up. Of course, I wasn't looking in the Anaheim area, but I'm writing it down. A lot of these places do have websites, and so you can go. I have ordered from Cali Fabrics, and they have really nice stuff. And I thought, oh, I'll go visit them. They don't really. They're really just an online only place. Sadly, I was like, I wonder if I could go to their store, but it looked like they were pretty much online only. So, but good fabric store, local fabric store, got to keep them in business. Okay, all you creative and son, I think I'm gonna shut her down. I thank you so much for showing up. This is definitely going to be a replay crew video, and I'm going to go in and add the uh, come back to this video. YouTube will post it, and I think it takes about an hour, and I will add um, the links for the Sewing Report Live and the So Lounge and a few other things. I'll put all those down in the description so that you can go back and find them. They have excellent videos on what's happening in the sewing industry. I highly recommend them. So you guys have a great day. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you.